Cool. So, hello everyone. My name is Jason Gardner. I'm going to do about 20 minutes, I think, and then leave some time for Q&A. So the title of this presentation is A Radically Shifted Mindset, the big secret for living a radically shifted life and achieving your biggest dreams and goals, or just honestly, how to be happier, right? Some people, I've gotten a lot of feedback. Some people are not interested in having big dreams and goals right now in their life. They just want to be happier. Then that's okay. This will serve you as well. So quickly about me, I am not only a coach, a life coach, for founder of Radical Shift Coaching, but I'm also an escape artist and a magician. That's me in the middle in a little box, handcuffed, about to be wrapped up and restrained in that little tiny box, and I do a nice escape. And let me see where we're at. Oh, cool. I thought I had some more pictures for you. I guess not today. So let me just quickly get into the fact. So I do my shows. I travel around the world, and just these days, because of COVID, I've been relegated to being a virtual performer and or speaker, which has been great because it enables me to travel around the world without leaving my office, which is really cool. So these things I'm going to talk about are really simple. I am a drummer as well, and my favorite drummer is Steve Gadd, and simplicity is a bitch. He says that. So often it's the things that are really simple in life we kind of discount because no pain, no gain. And if we don't feel like we're working at it, then it might not be effective. And I'm here to tell you that actually it's the opposite. Taking a walk on the beach, enjoying the fresh air, being with your husband is actually the way to become more successful, have greater wealth, not only spiritually, but financially, and also just be happier. So I'm going to show you how to do that. If you can, just mute yourself. I do hear some noises, and it's kind of better for everybody if we kind of mute ourselves, if you're able to. I realize I am the host, but I'm not going to do the controls, so try to mute yourself if you can. So I want to talk about free time, okay? And since we're not going to do a whole lot of visuals, you can either close your eyes and imagine what I'm talking about and picture it in your own life, or you can watch me talk either way. But the first thing I want to talk about is free time. So I'm just curious, most people that I ask, if I say, how do you schedule your doctor's appointments? They say yes. I ask them, do you schedule work? Is it written down? Yeah, I do, especially if I have a special gig that day. I write it down. Do you schedule sometimes plans with others? I do. But when I ask people if they schedule free time to take a walk on the beach, time to relax and do nothing, time to take a bath, those things, do they actually schedule those things? And most people, almost 100% of the people I've asked, do not schedule free time. So it's like we give permission for everything else in our lives as a priority. When someone else comes in, I need your stuff. It's their agenda. I need your time. Okay, here, take out my calendar and I'll give you my time. All right, blah, 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 blah. But when it comes time to giving yourself that same freedom, that same space, that same putting yourself first, we often don't do it. So I'm here to tell you that you actually can give yourself free time. And free time can happen in small increments, or it can happen in larger increments. It's really up to you. But it's all about being mindful and recognizing those little gaps during your day. So for example, when I get on the elevator, I can choose to press the door close button, or I could just wait for those 5 to 10 seconds and just sit there and wait and be mindful and present in that moment. And maybe in that moment, there's someone right next to me and I could say hello to them. And I can maybe give them a compliment on what they're wearing, a genuine, interaction and an engagement, and actually connect with somebody in that same time instead of trying to rush to get there. Yeah. So, we let's do things just to do them. Let's take an elevator ride just to take an elevator ride, right? So let's just slow down and be there. So small increments of free time is wonderful. Those do not need to be scheduled. That's more about being mindful and recognizing that you have time. When you're walking from one place to another, when you're in between things, that is some space that you can just be mindful and be present. Now, free time can also happen in larger increments, right? You can give yourself some really, really great spaces during your day. You can also give yourself free days and free weeks, free weekends. Now, Bill Gates takes off 1 month out of every year for free time. And during that 1 month, he takes out his notepad and he jots down a bunch of ideas, right? Because he's he's rejuvenating, right? He's enjoying his family, his friends, and he's just being present. And in that time, in that space, ideas show up. You notice how when you take a shower, you have all these great thoughts? Because it's in the space in between things where we get great ideas. So Bill Gates would go back to work a month later and then produce $1 billion worth of ideas from that 1 month of just having ideas, of having space to come up with these thoughts, these ideas. We'll talk about this in a moment, that everything starts with a thought. Everything starts with a thought, everything, okay? So you can give yourself free time. You can give yourself a month, a week, a day, but it requires getting in front of it. And I'm going to talk a lot about this. Getting in front of things, slowing down enough to recognize that you don't have to press the door close button. Getting in front of it to realize that you can actually have those free moments during the day. And getting in front of it enough to realize that I can actually write things down and schedule my free time. I don't have to just run around like a maniac. I can actually designate. So for me, I have 3 types of days. I have free days where it's time to rejuvenate myself. I have focus days where I'm working like this, where I'm delivering content and making money. And I also have I call admin days. Admin days are days that I do a lot of other things, shopping and schedule stuff and just, admin stuff. But I'm very deliberate about those days. So then I know when free time comes up and those free days show up, I turn off everything. It all goes away. And I'm just present for my family and my 2 boys, right? I'm just being with them and then engaging in things that give me freedom. Miles Davis, by the way, said this. I think it's a great quote. Music happens in the space between the notes. Now think about that. If there was no space in between the notes, music would just be one clump of sound. It couldn't exist. Well, life happens in the space between the big actions, the big things. It's in those little dips, those little spaces where you really find out who you are, right? It's a great quote about you really find out who you are. I'm paraphrasing, but when you sit in a room alone, and that tells a lot about who that man is, who that woman is, what they do when they're alone, when they're free time. That says a lot about you, right? So free time, give yourself free time. Take walks. Give yourself permission to take the day off, the weekend off, the hour off, right? Slow down enough to recognize the fact that you can do that and give yourself that. And then notice what happens. Check out what happens. It's been proven now that you can actually work less and be more productive when you do this type of giving this to yourself, feeding yourself this way. Remember the metaphor about the oxygen mask in the airplane. You put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you put it on your child or someone else. You got to take care of yourself first. And free time is your oxygen mask, right? How you rejuvenate and what you give to yourself is how you're able to really turn around and be there for others. When I give myself freedom, when I give myself space, I have no resentment towards others taking up my time because I've already given myself the time that I need. I put myself first. So look at your life, make those little switches and changes. And if you can get one thing out of this presentation is open up your book and write down. So instead of just having it be random, write down, this evening I'm taking a walk to the beach with my husband. This evening I am turning off my devices. I'm giving myself a digital sunset. 6 p.m. everything goes off, and I'm going to read a book. And I wrote that down in my journal or in my schedule. I'm going to read a book tonight, right? Own it. Really show up there. There are 2 ways to get in front of your day. 2 ways to get in front of your day. Because we are talking about slowing down enough to get in front of things, right? To see what's available to you. So 2 ways to get in front of your day. First way to get in front of your day is the night before to think about what you want to do the next day. Think about the one action step that would take you closer to your biggest dreams and goals, or on one action that would make you happier, right? What would make you happier? And write that down the night before. Own it. Write it down, right? You put that, you have a dentist appointment, you're going to write that down, right? Well, your emotional health is even more important than your teeth. So let's work on that. So the night before, we write down one thing that we're going to do tomorrow that will bring us closer to our biggest dreams and goals and or make us happier, okay? And when we wake up in the morning, we don't have to think about that. This is a key to success. This is a real hack for the most successful people, what they're doing. They don't write down 10 things. They write down 1 to 3 at most actions that will really move the needle for them. So when they wake up, they don't have to guess, no guesswork, and no emotional, you don't need an emotional barometer like, oh, I don't feel like it. No, you've already committed. You wrote it down. You're going to do the thing. You wake up, you do the thing, and then you can actually celebrate the win, which is another whole topic, but you really want to give yourself gratitude and appreciation for what you've done. And when you do that, you're really telling your brain, which is the next thing I want to talk about, the science of this. But you're going to tell your brain that you're doing the right thing. You're going to change patterns and habits and behaviors by getting in front of your day and having a win, calculating what that win is going to be, and then actually doing it. It could just mean, I'm just going to be more positive. At the end of the day, I said, did I do my best to be more positive? I did. That's a win. Yay. Maybe tomorrow I'll do the same thing. I write it down. Tomorrow I'm going to do even better. Today it was 7 out of 10 for positivity. I mean, between 1 and 10 is a 7. I'm going for an 8 tomorrow. I want to be a little more positive, right? I want to be a little more secure in that. Just ways to get in front of your day. So that's the first thing you'll do. Second thing you'll do is more granular. When you look at your day, slow down enough. It only takes about 10 minutes in the morning, but slow down enough to get in front of each and every activity that you have. So let me take you through what this looks like. Today, I knew that I had the Bedford Rotary Club. So when I woke up this morning in my morning routine, I did a little meditation, a little bit of, self-care, and then I started thinking about the meeting today. And I thought about how I would show up. I thought about how you would respond. I thought about what I would talk about. I'm not a big scripter. I don't write things out in scripts too much. So I just thought about what I would do, how I would deliver it, the impact that I might have, what that feels like to help people and serve people and talk from my heart. I got in front of all this stuff, spent a few minutes, that's all, on this one thing that's coming up, right? So I got in front of it. And you can imagine how that would work if you had say a job interview, right? You would literally envision the whole thing. You'd visualize showing up, walking to the job interview, right? What you're wearing, opening up the door, going inside, greeting the person, imagining the wonderful interactions you would have, telling them, giving them your pitch, being present, being focused, right? A few words that really kind of, help organize, focus. I have my pencil. I'm ready to go. I'm going to get the job. All these things I'm thinking about in the morning. Now, I imagine them giving me the job. So now when I get there, if you're a fan of quantum physics, you understand that this has already happened, right? Thought creates reality, which is what we talk about in a minute. We're going to close up with that, about really showing you why this is the way it is. But if you get in front of it, you're actually creating something you've already created it in your mind. Now you're going to create it in physical reality by showing up and going through and doing the action. And you'll be so surprised. My clients tell me this all the time because we work on this a lot. It's almost psychic ability. After the interview, they're like, not only did the person say what I thought they were going to say and I got the job, they even looked like I thought they were going to look. I mean, they interacted the way I thought they were going to interact. It was like as if I knew already how that was going to show up. And I said, you did, because you visualized your best future. You spent time programming that in, which we're going to talk about in a second. And when you programmed it into the universe, into God, or whatever you want to talk about, or whatever metaphor you want to use, when you've done that, you've already created it in a non-physical reality. I know it's a little bit weird. And now you're showing up just to create it in physical reality. And now what we're learning in quantum physics through the observer effect, look it up, double slit experiment, look it up. We learn that actually thought does create reality, that everything does start with a thought. That doesn't exist until you observe it. So therefore, until you start thinking about something, it doesn't exist. And everything starts with a thought. So Steve Jobs had an idea for this device that he would, he would hold in his hand that would do something really cool. And it would serve people and help and be stylish and all this stuff. And it was an idea. That's all it was just a thought. And he had to believe that thought. Right? He dreamt it, then he had to believe in it, and then he had to figure out how to make it happen. All that is him saying yes, yes, yes. Yes, and getting in front of it, visualizing what it might be like if it happened. Yes, he might have had doubts and insecurities along the way, but I'm really, really grateful that he was able to move that aside and say, no, this is more important. Taking a risk, taking a change is more important. And it actually might feel weird, but this is truly my vision, and I want to follow through, right? So 2 ways to get in front of your day. The night before, write down the thing you're going to do tomorrow, the one thing that really might be a game changer for you in your life, in one or many areas of your life. The second way is visualize each and every action that you have that day. Take your schedule out and look at your schedule. Run through your schedule. Jim Rohn says that, finish your day before you start it is what Jim Rohn says, right? So this is how you're doing it. You're finishing your day before you start it. You can get in front of your whole day just through visualization. And then when you start showing up, it feels familiar. People feel familiar. There's something very interesting that happens, and we go into that manifestation area where things actually start to happen for you because you've really thought the best case scenario. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to pause because I always forget this. So I was so smart to put this into my presentation. I do forget to say this. I have 2 bonuses for the Rotary clubs. What I love about Rotary clubs is that you're all about service and giving back, which is kind of where I'm at in my life. I'm always about service and giving back. I wake up every day and ask myself, who can I serve? Who can I serve? And at one point I didn't have anybody to serve, and I kept asking that question, and now I have clients and I get to speak to people. So it's manifested just by visualizing, who can I serve? Who can I serve? So I want to give back to a group of people that know how to serve. And by the way, here's a quick hack for you guys. If you feel sad or depressed or down or doubtful, call up one of your fellow Rotarians and start talking about one of your future projects, who you're going to help next. And once you start talking about that and brainstorming and jamming on it, the ego, it goes away. Me goes away. Feeling bad about yourself goes away. And you guys have that. So I just want to remind you that you actually have that available to you. You have an email list and a community of people. You know their numbers. You know who they are. So if you're ever feeling like you're struggling, lean into your tribe. This is a tribe. This is a community that you guys have. So just know that. I just want to remind you because I think it's so important, the work that you guys are doing. So I want you to know that you can actually, without any guilt, heal yourself and feel happier because of that work that you're doing, and get yourself out of any struggles that you have just by leading into this great work that Rotarians do. So here's bonus number 1. It's an ebook that talks in depth more about what I'm just talking about here, a bunch of actual hacks and tips about how to escape what's holding you back. Totally free. Let's do it this way today. Here's my number, 617-675-5588, and text the word Houdini, and then I will get you that ebook in just a moment. You'll have that as soon as we're done with the call. The system will put it through and it will send it over to you. Okay, no pressure, but it's something that I'd love to give back. So Houdini to 617-675-5588. And bonus number 2, I am a coach. So I do want to offer everyone here a radical shift strategy session. And this is what we do. We just take a look at where you're at right now, what is working, what isn't working, and where you want to be and what holds you back from those outcomes right now, okay? Also show you a little bit more about what I do one-on-one with people. As well, if you have a group or a company, I also do this for them too, okay? So for that, just the same thing. You can in that number, you can text that you want a session, or you can also in this chat, you can put your first name and email, and we will get those afterwards. Okay. So first name and email in the chat box here, and we can get that to you. So I just want to say thank you for that. I want to finish up with the coolest part about this. This is called How to Program Your RAS. You guys hanging in with me? You guys doing good? All right, cool. How to program your RAS. So what is the RAS? This is the science part about what visualization and manifesting things through thought. All right, so this is all nice and good, but where's the science? Where's for you guys who are logical? You're going, well, okay, this is nice, but how does it really work? Okay, the RAS is a part of the brain, the frontal cortex. It's called the RAS. It's the reticular activating system. Reticular activating system. And the RAS is a filter. We take in tons of information every single second, right? All this information comes in. We would go crazy if our conscious mind had to record all that or notice all that. So what happens is we have the RAS. The RAS helps us to filter out things that are important. The important things stay in the conscious mind, and the rest of the stuff gets dumped into the subconscious, okay? So how does it know what stays in the conscious? How does the RAS work? How do we program the RAS? Well, the RAS knows what's important to you. How? By thought. So, give you 2 examples. You hear your name in a room It's a crowded party, and you hear your name across the room. You hear Jason. That's the RAS that knows by thought your name is really important to you. It's heard it many, many times, and it knows this. So it scans constantly. It's always on, scanning for the name Jason. So say you go buy a red car. We've all heard about this one. And then suddenly you notice all these red cars are driving all around. That's the RAS. Once again, you've programmed the RAS to tell it that that red cars are important. So what does this mean? This means that what you put into that, what you think about, expands into reality. Really, really true, right? So visualizing your best future, your best self, you're programming your RAS, that's what's important. And to scan and look for all the opportunity, situations, experiences, people, things that help that to happen, that help to manifest that thought into physical reality, okay? When Steve Jobs had the thought of the iPhone, he started leading into that thought, what it looked like. Suddenly people started showing up, right? He started talking about it. And people started kind of coming together and saying, well, I have something I can help you out with. I could do this, I could do this. And he put together this whole company, right? He worked this whole thing out, right? Same thing with you. So a couple of quick little tips before I finish up. One way you could do this is, say you're looking for a relationship, or you're looking for a business partner, you're looking for a client, okay? You can actually start to think about what those people look like. Now, it could be like a specific client, right? Like, I really want to coach Bill Gates, right? So let's just use that for example. So now I have the thought about Bill Gates. So then I do the visualization. I imagine meeting him, talking to him, working with him, what that would look like, the impact that would have, how it would feel, right? All those things. And I do that. I take myself on a walk. I go out to the beach and I walk along the beach and I think about me and Bill Gates, okay? And about the relationship that we would have and the work that we would do, the impact that we would have, the money that I would make. Let's switch over to something else. Say you're looking for a relationship. You don't know who she is, but you really know the details. You know really what you want. You've been around the block, you know. So you start to journal and write down in detail everything about this woman. Everything about this woman. By the way, there's a great book called Write It Down, Make It Happen. And the author did this because she was looking for a relationship. By the way, not only did she write down who she wanted, but she also wrote down who she wanted to be to get that lover. She started really journaling and like writing these stories about this man. And one day she's at a party and a man walks up to her and says hello. And she knew. And he turned around to walk away and she said, no, don't leave. Come back here. Because she knew. See, she had programmed her RAS. So the RAS was screaming out, this guy. And it was scanning things that she couldn't even see. He really ticked off a lot of her buttons, a lot of the things that were on her list, right? And they ended up getting married. Okay, so you can do that with specifics, but you can also do that with just happiness. Okay, so here's a little quick tip: programming RAS for happiness. Don't think about the things that are complicated. Say you're in a difficult relationship right now. Don't think about the happy relationship. There's so much going on there. But think about something that just makes you happy. Bunny rabbits, kitty cats, sunsets, beaches, right? Reading a book, taking a nice bubble bath, coloring, the smell of roses, right? Anything like that. Start to think about what that's like, okay? And just sit with it. Sit with those thoughts because you're programming your RAS for happy. You're telling your RAS that these things are happy and you're feeling happy. And the RAS picks up on feelings too. And now it's understanding and you're creating not only a pattern, but a habit and a personality of happiness by spending time and working on this and visualizing, getting in front of it and giving yourself free time. So I want to say thank you very much. Thank you. The virtual is very weird for me considering that I spend my time in front of hundreds of people a year, surrounded by people, and this year has been a complete blessing, Paula. There's been it's been very different for me. So sometimes I feel like I'm talking to just like so I want to thank you again for being present. It looks like everyone's still here, which is also a good note. I see 21 and 21 were here. And thank you very much. I'm going to open it up for Q&A. I went a little long. I don't know where you guys are with time, but I would love to hear some feedback or thoughts.